Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back for another video on the wedge system. In this video, we're going to talk about increasing your spin on wedge shots and how you're going to be able to do that by going low spin as a stock shot, medium spin, and then a higher spin shot if you really have to have that wedge stop soon, okay? So for everyone who hasn't seen it yet, watch the first video on the wedge system, just kind of outlining the guidelines of how to create it, okay? So for me personally, I have my 58 degree from 40 yards. For me on a stock shot, from 40 yards, I go waist high to waist high, and that typically spins, you know, mid 5,000s to mid 6,000s as my spin rate. So I'll hit a couple for you guys first. Just hit a couple stock shots. These should carry around 35, roll out to 40. So that one carried 34, spun it at 6,300, launched at 30 degrees, so pretty standard stock shot, okay? So I'll hit a couple more for you guys. Just a couple waist high to waist highs. That hit that a little bit hard, but it's okay. 6,700, carried to 39, still a very good shot. I'll hit one more, and again, these are just waist high to waist high, feeling pretty constant speed for those who haven't seen the first wedge system video. I hit that a little bit chunky, so that shouldn't spin as much. 4,700 because it hit the ground first, but that's okay. That will still be a pretty decent shot on the golf course. 35 yards, so I'm 15 feet putt. So I'll hit one more, try to hit it a little bit cleaner. A little bit cleaner, a little bit low on the face. 31 yards, 5,900 spin. But that's okay, that's a pretty good shot. So I'll delete those two from the data just to give us a better spread on the averages. Let me just try one more for you guys. Focus a little bit, so just waist high to waist high, nothing to it. That's a pretty standard, pretty contact, a little bit short, 30-yard carry, but pretty standard, 6,400 yard spin. So now that we have our baseline on what a stock shot looks like, I'm going to then change the label on these next 3 or 4 shots to a medium spin. And how we alter the medium spin is to just feel like you ride down the ball a little bit more with the leading edge of the club, okay? So you're going to see the numbers reflect where I'm going to be hitting down on it a little bit more, but the concept of feeling like I have no hinge and still going waist high to waist high still remains the same. I'm not going to add any hinge to it. Consciously, I'm still trying to ride waist high to waist high, but the only difference now is instead of trying to hit, let's say, at the ball or maybe half an inch before, I'm going to try my best to have the leading edge first contact with high on the ball, and I'm going to have that club ride down the ball, okay? And that's what I'm going to feel like I do to create that extra spin rate. So we'll see what we can do. Same stance, same everything. Ball position is still middle to back middle for me. All we're gonna do is feel like we ride down the ball, so it's gonna give us a little bit more angle of attack. Hit that a little bit too high on the face, I would say. Spun it at 6,900, so not too bad. Let me try to give it a little bit more. That's a little bit better. So that jumped up to 7,390, so 7,400 RPM. I hit down on that 9 degrees, basically, low on the face. So that's a pretty standard medium spin shot for me, where I'm going to start revving it up into the 7,000s. Same thing, 7,300 RPM at 35 carry, 30 launch. So it's still a very consistent launch angle, which I like. I'm just adding more spin to it now. So I'll hit one more for you guys. Same thing, waist high to waist high. Gonna feel like I hit high on the ball and ride it low, okay? So same thing, pretty consistent, 7,300, 7374 RPM. So that's my medium spin, okay? So as you try to get spin it into the 8,000s, 9,000s, which is very premium for a 40-yard shot, I'm gonna start feeling like I rehinge through the ball, okay? So what the rehinge does It just gives me a little bit more speed through the ball. But the key here is making sure that I can get the speed into the ball without getting the ball speed, because we don't want distance right now. To spin the ball at 9,000 RPM at 40 yards is actually pretty challenging. It's a good practice, good shot to develop. So we'll see how this goes. And all we're gonna do here, so I'm just gonna label it as a high spin, just so we can look at the numbers together after. So all I'm gonna do now, still the same concept, feeling waist high to waist high, but I'm really gonna try my best to, as I come into the ball, high on the ball with low on the face, I'm gonna feel like I ride it down and rehinge at the same time. Okay, so from this down the line view, I'm coming here as normal. It might start feeling like a hinge a little bit just because I have to unhinge that much harder, okay? So it's gonna feel like a hinge a little bit. I'm gonna come in and unhinge, high on the ball, low on the face, ride it down, and then rehinge as hard as I can, and we'll see what happens. That wasn't as good. That was too high on the face. Still spun it at 7,500. Let's try a couple more for you guys first. Wasn't as aggressive as it could have been. That was better. So that was 40-yard carry, 29 launch, 8,100 spin. So that's much better spinning at 8,100. Let me try a few more for you guys. Hope I can do a good job. So it's gonna feel like I hinge a little bit, unhinge and rehinge as hard as I can. High on the ball, low on the face. That rolled a little bit too high on the face, but that wasn't too bad. 7,600 RPM at only a 30-yard carry, so that could have been good if I hit it a little bit harder. That was better. Again, 8,100 spin at 39 carry, and you see how fast that ball stopped. So when you practice these shots, it's very crucial for you not to be worried that you're going to skull the ball, okay? A lot of people, when they first learn this shot, because you're trying to hit so low on the face and so high on the ball, you're going to get skulls, but that's okay. That's part of the learning experience. That's part of the process. If you miss, you miss. That's how we learn, okay? So let me try a few more for you guys just to get a bigger baseline of numbers. So again, same stance. I'm going to feel like I hinge a little bit, unhinge as hard as I can, high on the ball, low on the face. I'm just going to ride it down and rehinge. So do one more for you guys. So that one, too high on the face, but still spun it at 7,600. Let me just try one more, just to be a little bit more aggressive with it, with the ball contact. That's better. So 8,200, a little bit high on the face, but that's why I got the extra distance, but spun it at 8,200. So if you guys practice this, you can see you can alter the spin quite a bit by 800 to 1,000 RPMs based on which spin you're going to try to play on the shot. So we got the stock shot, the medium shot, and the high shot. Okay. So when we look at the numbers now, I'm going to pull it up on the screen. You're going to see a correlation between how we deliver that club into the ball. So I'll delete the few outliers that we had where I really missed it. Let me just see. Delete those, delete. Had a bad miss here. Delete that. Let me just take a look at the numbers quickly, and I'll talk about it a little bit further. Oops. Yeah, so you guys can see, so I'm using a Pro V1 just for comparison's sake with all the shots, using the same Pro V1, using my Ping Glide 2.0 58-degree wedge. So you can see here now, I have some shots with my stock wedge, some shots with the medium spin, and some shots with the high spin. And as you guys can see, okay, sorry, I just forgot to do that. So just trying to organize the shots for you guys. So you guys can see with the stock shot I've mentioned, I spin it maybe mid 5,000s to mid 6,000s, depending on how clean or how behind the ball I hit first. So I'm spinning that at 6,300 RPM, carried at 34, and launched it at 29 degrees. So pretty standard for a 40-yard shot I'm trying to play. When we try to go to the medium spin, we can see we kept the launch angle very consistently at 30.2, so I'm only 1 degree higher. Really, if I take out one of the, actually let me take out one really bad miss hit on the stock shot. So you can see, so now it brings it in line back to 30.4 degrees for the stock shot. Spun it at 6,400 yards, 64 RPM. Carried at 35, so pretty standard. My medium spin is the same thing, 30.2 degrees, spun it at 7,300, carried it at 33, which again, it's because it spins a little bit more, it's gonna carry a little bit less, but we play for it because it rolls out less as well. But you can see it's a good 900 RPM difference between stock to medium. And once I start trying to rev it up into the higher spin, you're gonna see the ball speed kind of jumps a little bit, but I still keep my launch very, very similar, and my RPM jumps up to 8,100. So as a matter of fact, if it wasn't for that last shot I hit, where I just hit a little bit too cleanly, that carried 45, the ball speed would have been a little bit more low on that. So if I just disable that for now, it just bumps it back down to 46 ball speed. So ball speed is pretty constant, okay? The cool thing now as we move into the club data is seeing the big discrepancy between club and ball speed as you try to make it more spin. So my stock shot, as you can see, the efficiency is very close to 1. But as I start trying to play more spin, the efficiency gets worse because I have to give the club head more speed. But I don't want that to translate into ball speed because I don't want the extra distance. I just want the extra spin. And from there, you can see the spinniest ones I had, I delivered the most loft at impact. And that's where I felt like I was unhinging and rehinging through the ball, because that's what delivers the loft back into play. On my stock shots where I felt like I maintained a straight line with no hinge, I delivered less loft. Therefore, there's less spin on the ball. As well, I came in a little bit shallower on the angle of attack on the stock shots compared to the spinnier ones. So that's one thing that I typically notice for my shots, and it makes sense just because there's a greater spin loft that we create through higher loft at impact and steeper descent angle. So that's why drivers spin the least with a very narrow spin loft, because there's less deliberate loft and there's a high angle and there's a upwards angle of attack or more level angles of attack. And now that we're going into a spinny wedge, we deliver greater spin loft just because there is higher loft and a steep angle of attack. So that's a small correlation you guys can look at, but that's kind of how I like to build the spinnier shots into the wedge systems for my clients. So hopefully that helps. I'll hit a couple more for you guys just to kind of wrap things up. So just to summarize, if you're gonna alter your shots, alter the spin on your shots, you're basically gonna change how you deliver the club into the ball. So for a stock shot, all we're gonna do is maintain a straight line, waist high to waist high, pretty standard, nothing to it. Just turn and turn. And that only spun at 5,600, carried it a little bit too much, but again, in the acceptable window of 31 launch and 56 spin. If I want to play it a little spinnier, I'm going to feel like I ride down the ball a little bit more aggressively, so my club contacts higher on the ball first. So that spun quite a bit, but launched a little low, so 74.49, launched it at 28 degrees. Still a pretty good shot, And if I really want to try to spin this one higher, I'm going to feel like it come in just as steep as I unhinge and ride it down. So didn't do that very well. Actually, still pretty good. Hit the pin actually, so 83 spin. I felt like I hit that one a little bit high on the face, which I did, but I still managed to spin it quite a bit because it delivered so much loft into it at impact while hitting down on the ball. So you can see that's how we alter the spin rates on these wedge shots. So hopefully that helps. Any questions, leave it in the comments below, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, guys.